Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Jasmine. I've got another card video for you. I've got 4 of them. And this one is done something a little bit different. There's no stamping in this one. We're going to use up all of the scraps and strips of paper we've got hanging around and just use die cuts for the main image and the sentiment. So I'm starting out with a piece of cardstock. This is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I've got some sequin or score tape. This roll is about 2.5 inches wide. And it's a little difficult to tear it, so I end up cutting it. But they do make full sheets of this too. And then I've got another roll which is 1 inch wide. And then I'll fill in that gap with 1/2 inch wide. Then you want to trim any excess adhesive off the edges. So I'm using my paper trimmer to cut down scraps of cardstock, foil cardstock, glitter cardstock, whatever cardstock you want to use, you can use in these. It looks really cool to have varying textures and varying widths and varying finishes. So you want to use some pattern paper, some solid paper, maybe some foil or velvet or glitter cardstock, and use different widths next to each other to add to the texture. So I'm just kind of showing you how I cut up mine. I've got varying different widths, 3/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/8 inch. Just kind of depends on how small you can go with your die cutter or your trimmer. So here I'm just kind of matching, seeing what scraps will go together for like a holiday theme. And then I've started putting my scraps on. If you want to go at the sharpest angle, you're going to need scraps that are 7 inches long. So that's going to require some 12 by 12 paper. If you don't have any 12 by 12 or 7 inch long scraps, just lessen the degree of the angle. And that way you'll need shorter pieces. So I do kind of keep some of the adhesive covered with the backing paper so that I'm not losing the stickiness with oils from my hands. And then I'm just kind of mixing and matching with my different strips. So I've got foil next to velvet and plain pattern paper with texture next to the foil, glitter next to foil, etc. And I want to make sure that I keep my widths of paper varied. And also your colors too. You don't want to put all red next to each other because then you'll lose some of the pattern or the variability in it. And then when you're done filling up your paper, you just kind of hold it over the trash can and trim off any of the tiny little excess pieces that aren't really good for anything else. So for this one, I've lessened the degree of the angle. And I'm using, so the glitter cardstock is die cuts with a view, the foil is die cuts with a view, the shimmer is die cuts with a view, but the pattern papers and the velvet are both from Doodlebug. And if you have trouble kind of picking colors, but you want to use a pattern paper, just pick colors that are in that pattern paper, and they'll work well together because the pattern paper will tie them in together. So there's my second panel, and I'll just trim off all those excess pieces. And the third. And I usually use a wider piece right in the middle and then build it from there with more narrow pieces. And it helps if you have a good pair of tweezers to kind of help you butt these up cleanly next to each other without gaps. Then I've also got some wood veneer paper in this one too. And a few different companies make wood veneer paper. It is actual wood. It's just sliced or milled very finely, so it's very thin, but it is actual wood, and it's really cool. But if you can't get your hands on that, feel free to use a wood grain pattern paper. But I will have links to the wood veneer paper that I have in the blog post. And this isn't really a new technique, but I wanted to break out some oldies but goodies kind of thing for this year's card series. And I didn't buy any of the new stamp sets. I resisted the urge. And everything that I'm using in this year's card series is stuff I already have from last year, or maybe things I bought from years past that I never used. Just trying to keep in mind ease of creating Christmas cards. So here is all 4 panels that I've got. And they're all a little bit different. The angle's a little bit different. And it's really simple, really easy, versatile. And pray for card bases. So I'm cutting my sentiments using some dies, and I see I've got some glitter paper and some wood veneer paper, and I've put Stick It on the back of my paper before running it through the die cut machine. And I prefer Stick It for die cutting because it's thinner, and I have had troubles die cutting with score tape on the back. So when I found Stick It, which they came out a couple years ago, that's what I use for die cutting from now on. And this deer is cut with using, let's see, the Sizzix Tim Holtz Alterations Reindeer Flight. This is one of the big dies with the black foam case. And it's a few years old now. It's probably 10 years old now. But I haven't used it in a while, and it's kind of perfect for these. And then this snowflake border die is a memory box. I just cut that using some Die Cuts with a View blue foil cardstock with score tape on the back. Not score tape, Stick It. And try not to lose the little dots that go on the eyes. Those are called a tittle. I learned that from Laura Basson. But they tend to disappear. And I don't know why that happens. But I managed to keep mine. But they are a pain in the butt to try to stick on. So I usually end up just using jewels for the eyes because I lose the dots. But this year I managed to keep my hands on all of them. I think it's because I was more careful about looking for it. And when using Stick It, it's not super sticky right away. That's a unique feature of it, is it's tacky at first, but after it sits a while and kind of, I don't know what you want to call it. I use weight on top of it just to let it cure, I guess. It does stick really well. It just takes a minute. So I found these to be a really great way to use up scraps and bits and things that I wouldn't ordinarily know what to do with, maybe just toss them. but I have a hard time throwing away usable pretty paper. So I thought this was a good way to use it up, and a good way for people to make economical cards that they don't necessarily have to go buy stuff to make. Just use up what you've already got. And the Happy Holidays is a neat and tangle die, and it came with the stamp of approval box. I think the very first one that Catherine Pooler did, that die was in there. But I do know that it's available separately now. And the Christmas Blessings is from Simon Says Stamp. And I think those are the only two I used. Oh, the Merry Christmas, that's from Simon Says Stamp as well. Sorry about my head, I had to get kind of close on top of it to get it right. I used some Tombow Money Multi in the back of the Christmas Blessings die cut, because apparently I forgot to stick it. And if you haven't used Tombow Money Multi, it's nice because it's a 2-in-1. So if you let it dry without sticking it down, it becomes repositionable. So you can peel it off of stuff. It's great for masks. But if you let it dry while it's wet, stuck down, it's really good, sturdy glue. It doesn't come up. So now I'm ready to attach my panels to the card base. And I line the outer edges with score tape, and then I put tape runner in the middle. I don't use tape runner to hold things down. It's just, it doesn't stick. So I use it in the middle, and it gives me a temporary anchor so that I can peel off the backing paper for the score tape, and it doesn't shift. So if you lay it down and it's not quite straight, you can peel it back up without damaging anything, and then get it straight second or sometimes third go around. And I'm using Neenah Classic Cream cardstock for the card bases. And there is all 4 cards. So let me know what you think. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and we will catch you next time. Have a great Christmas, guys. Bye.